Hello.
Hi, good
Good day,
morning.
good morning. We are here again. We're gonna do another recording today on a different day. We have come to a new energy in the Mayan calendar, count of time. And again, we are here, special guests to the show. Jennifer here and me, Sondra. We have just poured in a cup of cacao, so we're doing another, I guess we can call it a cacao talk. But this time it's gonna be with a little bit, a very specific message. There's something I want for Jennifer to share and inform about, which is quite exciting. Maybe Jennifer, you can just go ahead and tell a bit.
Yeah, so maybe we can start with talking a bit about the energy of today in the Mayan calendar. So for me, it's really easy to, or for us, it's really easy to follow the energies because we have been doing that for a long time. We learned the order and the cycles, and it's just like following the Gregorian calendar that we are in now. But we also can have a tool like this to know on which day we are. And so today we need to change it because it's not bats anymore, it's A3A or path. And then we can just move it around. And there are 20 energies, like 20 days, connected with 13 numbers.
What if you hold it a bit close up where I can hold it
Yeah.
without the reflection? There, perfectly. Now, yeah, then we see the combination of the sign up there where it says E, and we have the number, 3 dots at the bottom. So today is in the Mayan language, it's called Oship E, if
Yeah.
I'm correct. Oship means 3, and E is the name of the path. So, okay, before we start talking about the special surprise or whatever, if we can should call it that, why don't we talk a bit about the energy of E?
Yeah, so like I was saying, there are 20 energies of the Mayan calendar, and A is one of them. And every energy or every day has a special intention, a special reminder, a special activation, a special gift, or a special challenge as well. It all depends where you are on your path. So the energy of A is called A, and it's really the symbol for the path, for the white paths of the Mayan between their temples. And in Mayan language, it's called Sakbe, and it's the white path. And it really is a symbol of our spiritual path. It's also connected to the Milky Way because I believe that the Mayas and the ancient people, but especially the Mayas, were really connected with the stars and with what was going on the cosmos, and they were guided by it. And so I want to say, I've been thinking because I was thinking before, what am I going to come and say? And I just want to say that before I met the Mayan people, and before my path brought me to meet the Mayan people, I never talked about a spiritual path. I never talked about the Nahuales or the Mayan energies or the Mayan calendar. I really feel that it was a call for my life to come and meet these people. It was my path. So I think that it has to do a lot with returning or going back home to ourselves. I feel that it is a path that it takes us back to an inner journey of really getting to know ourselves and to walk a different path in life, so to say, to be more aware, to be more conscious, to have some kind of a mission. So I feel that it's not going just from one point to another point, but it's really, like they say, a lot of people, it's really not about the destination, but it's really about your journey, how you walk through your path of life. Even if you know you want to get somewhere, it's not about that place, it's about how you walk through it.
Right. I find this energy, in particular, the energy of air, it's such an interesting theme to talk about, because I really believe that the Mayas, as well as other ancient cultures, they knew something about this particular energy, the energy of what is called the path, which was connected or is connected to the temples, right? And the interesting thing for me is that somehow this particular energy, it doesn't only apply to the Mayas, although the Mayas use this glyph, this symbol, to describe it and talk about it. I think, and I have read books about it, that there exists some type of harmony between other temples in the world too, that belong to other cultures, other civilizations, like the cultures of Egypt, the Greek, several cultures around the Mediterranean Sea, that it was not random where temples or pyramids or sacred places were built. They were rather discovered. And one example that hasn't really, it doesn't have connection with the Mayas, but it has to do with the temple of Delphi in Greece, which is placed very remote in the mountains. It's hard to get there. And you might wonder, why did they choose that place as a sacred place? But it has been found out that it has a certain harmonic relationship with other sacred sites, also the pyramids in Egypt. So, and for sure, and surely there also exist studies on this, how the sacred Mayan temples, they were not just randomly built here and there, but they follow a sort of pattern, and then like the connecting bridges between those sacred points or energetic points were these paths of air. So I find it very interesting. It's like almost somehow a bit a lost science, perhaps, of how really, how did people know in one sense, or how did they have another sensitivity for energies, or what we call the experience of connectedness to Earth or to the stars, like in this painting here. Jennifer has painted some stars, because it also is connected with the Milky Way, right? The Sakbe, wasn't that the name they used for the Milky
Our
Way?
galaxy, what we can see on the sky of our galaxy is that white stripe on a very clear night. You can see like this path. Yeah.
It's such an interesting subject, and I know that you're one of those that have said that somehow you could almost consider the temples to be mirrors of the constellations, or the structures in the sky, in the night sky.
At some point, yeah.
And as we know, many of the temples were aligned with solstices, with equinoxes, with certain dates that, yeah, did connect with events taking place in the night sky.
Not only the Mayas were doing that,
No,
but
no.
a lot of the ancient cultures. If you have traveled around the world, you can see it in Egypt, you can see it in North America, you can see it in South America, you can see it. I've been to the pyramids of Bosnia also. You know, it's like they always have the temple of the sun, the temple of the moon, and so they were honoring, I believe, these cycles of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another name similar to E, or it holds the same type of association, which is the ley lines, which are being used to describe like energy lines in the landscape in more like in Europe, Northern Europe and England, the British Islands, and also in China they have something called dragon lines, they call it, with the feng shui science. It uses this concept, the dragon lines being like energetic lines in nature. So it's all really fascinating, I think, and I believe that there is reality to it, that through these temples, these sacred spots, that really they are like the acupuncture points in the body of Earth. Like there are meridians, just like in our physical body. According to the Chinese medicine, there are these energy lines and energetic points in our body. So as above, so below, or other way around. That Earth is a mirror of us and opposite.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that could be said and still can be said about the energy of E and the other energies of the Mayan calendar. But if we we base ourselves in E, and Jennifer, I know that you have something special you would like to share. You think now is the right time to go into it?
Yeah, that's fine. It's no big secret or anything. I have been guiding tours in my homeland before I came here to live in Norway. And that was one of the things that happened a bit simultaneously when I was learning from my Mayan teacher, that I really wanted to find a way that I could combine what I have learned of the Mayan calendar with creating an experience around it. So at that time, I also became a professional tour guide, and I created something that I combined together. But actually, it was these guiding tours and the Mayan cosmology that I wanted to share, but I wasn't doing it actually until I met this guy here. And I think that it's really relevant to talk about it, because I think that there is this magic in these paths that we decide to take, that sometimes we really don't know where they're gonna take us, but we have this calling, like this interest, like this curiosity of going to see places, of leaving home and going to explore either other cultures, other countries, other places. And I think that that's what happened to you, Sondre. We can talk about that a bit in a moment, because it would be nice to hear it from from yourself. But when I met Sondre in Guatemala and we talked the first night, I knew that he was searching for something, and I was in that search as well. And it was a search of getting to know ourselves better, to getting to know ourselves better also through other people, through other cultures. I thought at some point that maybe I was not going to be able to travel the whole world, but if I was a tour guide and I had this other tool of the Mayan cosmology, I was able to get to know a lot of people from other places around the world that would come to Guatemala to see my country and to learn also about themselves. So when we met and we had the first conversation, I remember that one of the things that you told me also, I think you have done already the Santiago de Compostela pilgrimage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
And so I knew that he was walking a different path, even though he was very young. I saw this on him that he was, even though he was in search of something more of who he was. I think that you already knew, were very clear with yourself about who you were and what you wanted and what you didn't want in your life. And that was something that actually made me trust him from the beginning, and I knew he was a good person. And I dared to tell him, you know, if you really want to get to know the Mayan culture and you really want to um, see my country, you have to come and walk with me. And I said we walk like jaguars, because I knew that his Mayan sign was also the jaguar, and I am a jaguar in the Mayan calendar. So I said, okay, this is it. If you really want to know that, you have to come and travel with me for 20 days. I'll show you, I'll teach you, I'll pass on everything to you. And he said yes.
I said
And
yes.
we traveled together for 20 days, and it was a journey connected through the 20 energies of the Mayan calendar. And we were exploring places, but at the same time, I was telling him the stories and talking to him about the Mayan calendar. And it was just like activating the Mayan calendar in both of us while we were traveling. We were not only teaching and reading, but we were connecting and sharing stories. And at the end of this journey of 20 days with Sondre, we finished it up in Mexico in another archaeological or sacred site of the Mayas called Palenque. And there, when we went in, there was a guy that was like almost like screaming like this, you know, like mushroom tours, like, you know, because not everyone was doing that. Of course, there were like these traditional, normal tour guides. But when I heard this guy saying mushroom tours, I said, wow, he's daring to just say it like that out loud, you know? And then I said, how about if I would start calling like Mayan cosmic tours, because for me it also sounded a bit like a bit out there, you know, like a bit cosmic and a bit like trippy maybe, or a bit out of the box, out of the normal stuff or tours that people can be offering to people. And that's when I knew this is what I need to do. I need to guide tours with people through the Mayan cosmology and show them around places and go to places and show them also the Mayan temples, walk through these sakbes or Mayan white paths, and just activate the Mayan calendar in them. And as I speak this, I really feel like this excitement, and also I get some goosebumps, because it's really something that I believe that it can really bring the magic back to people. It can really give you a different sense of life and how you can experience life.
Yes. So obviously the Mayan culture was, as many of us know, they were an advanced culture in many ways, in many different areas, mathematically, through architect, through their stories, through their art, their written language, also combining agriculture. I mean, they had many different sciences working together to build a quite advanced civilization. And somehow it was all really centered around what was happening around their sacred sites, their sacred temples, their pyramids, the people who were then working somehow around the pyramid structure, working with their calendars, because they had several calendars. And before we go more into obviously we're talking about a tour ID here, but I'm just a little bit curious. Can you explain why we talk about the white paths? White because
the Mayan people, they were living mostly on the north part of Guatemala. I mean, they were living in all Guatemala, but where they left a lot of their pyramids or temples was in the north side of Guatemala and Mexico in the Yucatan Peninsula, and there were, and in Chiapas, but there was a lot of the soil was limestone, because this part of America was one of the last parts of the whole continent that actually came out of the ocean. And it's pure rock. There's almost no like soil or earth, and that's what they use to make all their temples and their paths. So nowadays we just see what is left from the temples and what the archaeologists have done with them, and also repair them a bit so we can see them better. But they were all painted in colors, mostly red, and their paths were white, because it was really walking into their ceremonial centers. They were, I believe, also white because white kind of like reflects in the night also, so maybe it's that you can see the path, where the path is. And yeah,
interesting. It's interesting, and you can
fascinating.
Use your imagination to just picture how it might have looked back in those days, to be walking through these jungles. I bet you the jungles were looking different back then when the Mayas were living there, like before the Spanish or the Europeans came.
Yeah.
With the colored temples and so. But Jennifer, I know that we have discussed quite a lot the name of a tour. I mean, we're talking about an ID here for a future tour, right? That's what we're kind of playing with. And you have thought up a quite specific name and theme for this tour. Do you want to share what that is?
Well, the thing is that these tours are basically called a Mayan Time Capsule, because it's like going into this time capsule. You're going to travel into a different time, into a different way of experiencing time. And every Mayan time capsule has an intention, and they have had different names. But the new name for this new Mayan time capsule journey to Guatemala, which actually is going to take place from the 20th of November to the 10th of December, 20 days traveling, it's called the Mothership.
The Mothership, right? Yeah.
And it's a long story in a way, but I really feel that the mothership can be many things, but it's really a connection, first of all, like with the Mother Earth, what the Earth has really to give to us. And not only on that part of the planet, but people come from different places to my tour, you know, and I just feel that nature is our guide and what really is gonna fill us up. And it's, for us in the Mayan world, we call it the mother nature. Like in South America, they call it Pachamama. and the mothership is really like for us going inside of the womb of our mother. It's like really going to rebirth ourselves, to mother ourselves, to learn how to take better care of ourselves, to be more caring, to be more connected to the feminine energy, to be connected with the mothership.
The mothership. I like the name because there's so much you can fantasize and associate with that phrase, that word. But Jennifer, there's one detail that I would like us to talk a bit about before we eventually we have to end it. But it comes to my mind that you, or in a way we together somehow, we thought up a symbol for what you call the Mayan time capsules, which is based on an old symbol that the Mayas used in their counting, their mathematics, which is the symbol of a zero. A zero or a 20, or it can be interpreted as, at least to my knowledge, 3 different things. It can, and this symbol, which is like, some say that it looks like a conch shell, but the interesting thing is that it can also be thought of as a cacao seed or a cacao bean, because the cacao was a sacred plant for the Mayas. They used it, I have heard, as like a currency unit, like we use money.
The most
today.
valuable thing they had to exchange.
And there have been found cacao seeds in other places of the American continent, like way north in New Mexico. There were also native civilizations there, like the Anasazi Indians. It has been found that they did trade with the peoples in Central America. They had cacao seeds there. They also found guacamaya feathers, like parrot feathers.
Yeah.
Aramaco.
Feathers, yeah.
So back to this symbol of the zero symbol, which also is very unique. The Mayas were one of the first, if not the first civilization that we know of that invented or had an understanding of the concept zero. But for them, the zero could represent 20, as well as a zero, as well as like one complete unit of something.
Mm-hmm.
And you, Jennifer, you chose to use that, somehow like get inspired by that symbol and use it as the logo of the Mayan time capsule, or the Mayan cosmic tours, as the name you that came to you during our first trip together.
Mm-hmm.
So and here we are drinking a cup of cacao. So the circle.
Well, I can say something about that, because actually the thing is that, like Sondre said, it has different meanings, but they all represent one thing. And this is a seed. This is it can be a 0, it can be a 1, and it can be a 20. And it all comes back to the human being, because in the Mayan world, people don't say in their own language, they don't say, oh, there goes Sondre, there goes Jennifer. They say, oh, there goes a Hunwinak. And Hunwinak means a 120. And maybe now it's a bit lost, like the whole meaning of it. But my teacher told me that what it really means is that there goes a 120, a one person conscious and activated with the 20 energies of the Mayan calendar. Because the Mayan calendar, this one, the Cholquij, you can read here Cholquij, or in Mexico it's called the Tzolkin. It's really the human being. There's 20 energies and 13 numbers. And what they say is like, what part of our body has 20, that we can count 20 with our body. And it's our fingers and toes. 10 fingers, 10 toes makes a 20. 120 with the 20 energies. They are in our fingers and in our toes as well. And 13 because we have 13 main joints in our body. Like if we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stand up, Sandra. 8. Here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13, 20. We are the Mayan calendar. That's why the Mayan people, or us that have learned the Mayan calendar, can read people's energy. It's scientific, it's spiritual, is physical, is mental, is everything is included in there. So that's why these journeys that I guide, or Sondre has been joining me also, that we guide together. Sometimes has been only me, sometimes it's the both of us. They are really activations of the human being, of the human body, of the human consciousness, of the human mind. So it's one complete human being. We come from one seed. We come from this potential of the 20 energies and the 13 numbers. And it's also a frequency, because the energy of 2013, well, then I'm going deeper and deeper. I mean, I could stay here for days and for hours talking about the Mayan calendar. But what I want to say is that if this is sounding exciting for you, it's interesting for you, watch our videos and stay close to us. And if you're interested in getting to know more about this tour to Guatemala, you have time to prepare yourself. I always say check your passports to begin with, and the details are gonna come soon out. The date is from we start traveling together as a group the 20th of November, because that day is the energy of 1A. And we are gonna start walking, traveling with the blessing of the Nahual, or Mayan sign of the path, 1A. Everybody has to be there in Guatemala before the 20th, but more details on that.
Great. So that was the message that we wanted to plant today, on today also being a day of Nahual Air. And yes.
And I just want to say a little bit of what you can expect. There's a lot of unexpected also, but what you can expect is that I will be doing teachings of the Mayan calendar. I will be taking you to meet special people, local people, magical people that can contribute to this experience of making it a magical one, while also you are going to learn about your own Mayan sign, about your own Mayan cross, about the Mayan fire ceremony, but a lot much more than that, while also traveling through Guatemala and getting to know the beautiful places there and activate this calendar in yourself. It's like a rebirth. That's why it's called the mothership, this one, because if you are in a place in your life when you feel like maybe there's a chapter that is over and you need to kind of like move on in your life, if you have been going through something difficult and it's time for you to receive something that can help you navigate and move forward, maybe everything is fine with you, but you are ready for an adventure and getting to learn something new about the Mayan calendar and about yourself through it, then this is for you.
Good.
Thank you, Sondre.
Thank you, Jennifer. I would like to just say at the end now that if anyone who is listening also in Norway and It can also be, this video that we do now is in English language, but I or we are looking for also other participants, other people to have these cacao talks together with. So if you are interested, also if you're interested to know more about your Mayan sign, also we've talked a bit about human design, which is like, it's not really a calendar, but it's also like
A map.
a type of holistic method around understanding your place in the greater context. For any of these reasons, if you're, or if you just like what we're talking about, if you feel connected with any of these subjects, just take contact and we can take it further from there. Thank you very much. We wish you a good day on this path day.
And may the path be open for all of us, for us to be able to walk and get where we want to go. Remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Thank you.